yeah, this is a little bit of a look of where I like grew up, and you know, it was a, you don't know, but I'll let you know. It was a good experience. Very safe, very peaceful. A lot of times people think of New York as like Manhattan, or you know, just the real like Times Square, if you will. But the beauty of New York is that like it has these boroughs and these like neighborhoods within them that are very unique and really cool to live in. Definitely give you a different look at New York, and I hope this video helps with that. Kind of behind me, and something that's kind of throughout Kew Gardens, which is something I didn't really appreciate until I like kind of left and came back to visit. The beautiful homes that are kind of in the general area. I grew up with my mom in like a 1-bedroom apartment, which was awesome. But coming back, I think when you're like numb to an area, you don't like actually notice things like that. But yeah, we'll pass through some side streets and I'll point out some of the houses because they're really beautiful to see. This is Lefferts Boulevard, and well, you guys will see there's a lot of like small businesses kind of alongside here. The Village Diner here, it's been here forever. I'm not exaggerating. I was born in the Bronx, and my mom moved me to Queens, Kew Gardens specifically, and a lot of the things we're passing by, stores rather, kind of like the Village Diner, have been here essentially while I grew up, including this 7-Eleven we got here, and this is Dunkin'. So outside of those, there's not too many like big box type of stores. A lot of them are smaller businesses, which has always made the area feel really nice and intimate, if you will. Kind of like a neighborhood, like a small town feel, if you will. And kind of I point out those bigger buildings, but the architecture in this general area too is really pretty, like kind of like almost these like old style townhouses, if you will. This here, this type of style house, you see that more so in Forest Hills. I've seen that like in, most people know Forest Hills but aren't as familiar with Kew Gardens. But Kew Gardens is like essentially the neighboring area from Forest Hills, kind of closer when you go towards Jamaica, if you will. But a lot of the homes, like I just pointed out a second ago, you see that in Forest Hills as well, so it's pretty cool. One thing definitely want to point out, this pizzeria on this corner here is Dani's Pizza, and was definitely a go-to growing up. Their pizza, I guess some people, most people I've met love their pizza. Some people, like my mom specifically, isn't a fan, but their pizza is great. Just being totally honest, they're not always the nicest when you walk in. Sometimes I think it's changed as of late. The past few times I've gone, they've been a little nicer, but there will be times where you walk in and they don't even like look at you, or they'll look at you then just look down and ignore you. That was just like maybe something they did to teenagers who wanting pizza, but a couple of my friends have mentioned they're a little bit on the impersonal side at times, but with all that said, their pizza is amazing. Also have like this movie theater kind of to our right side here, and it's funny because they used to have just like indie movies, and then they started to get like blockbuster movies, so it's kind of surprising just because it was just kind of like a smaller theater. This place on the corner, ironically, that used to be a barber shop that's now there. But it was there for years, at least while I was growing up, and then at some point it just kind of switched, and they've had a number of like stores there, and I guess nothing's really stuck, so it's kind of interesting. But right beside that, I don't think they have it here anymore, but there used to be this cool comic book store called Comic Den, and used to have like really cool action figures and stuff, but that was like right beside this on the corner here, and really cool. They also have Austin's Ale House, which is a place I've gone once or twice, not too often honestly, but a few times I've gone, it's pretty cool. The LIR is also here, so like there's exits obviously depending which side you get out. I mentioned this area was really, it was a really good experience living here, and you know, definitely appreciate it as you get older. I know like my mom, I think I mentioned I was born in the Bronx, but she moved me out of there, and she wanted me to kind of have like this type of experience, if you will. With that said, we didn't grow up like wealthy, or even sometimes not even totally middle class, but you know, kind of living in an area like this and just seeing peace and safety really left a good feeling. So Mom, if you're watching, thank you. Kind of just along these roads here, you just have just gorgeous houses. And again, I mentioned we're very close to Forest Hill, so Forest Hills is also known for like the beautiful homes in the area. But there's no exception, no exception here. Just have a few of them. Obviously, I don't want to point like in the windows or anything, but just to give you an idea of sort of what I was talking about. And I wanted to mention that like, might be in like certain places in the country, but like sometimes neighborhoods have like beautiful homes, but they all look the same. And not that that's bad, of course, but this area, the houses here all do have like very unique characteristics and quite beautiful to see. So I just wanted to show that. It's another one that's really nice. The Union Turnpike, Kew Gardens train stop where the E and the F are, it's only a few blocks away. So like for myself, I never took the LIR because it's a little expensive, but also for where I got around specifically, I didn't really need the LIR, but obviously if like you're commuting or just need that quick option, especially if you're like not as close to like just the regular MTA, sometimes the LIR works where you're so far, that's the only other train option. But here, there's a few trains, more so that one, but just as you kind of go closer into Queens, into like Manhattan, you have a few more options, but just wanted to call that out. Like the houses here, like look at this one, I mean, wow. And this is just the front of it, like the width of it on the other side, like around it, must be just as large. And is that a for sale sign? Oh, if anyone's interested, there's a for sale sign. So if you got a couple million, there you go. Outside of that, you still have these like smaller apartment buildings along the side here too. And a lot of them do work kind of are just like regular buildings you can rent. Quick look back at kind of where we walked from. And again, just like Kew Gardens Road here. This used to be like a Bank of America, and they haven't actually turned it to anything since, which is kind of strange. But you know, I guess that's what life is these days. But yeah, we're actually coming up right onto the train now, which more people might be familiar with. But the E and the F take you through like Brooklyn and Manhattan and Queens. And there's also, I'll show you actually now, there's a bus stop here, which is the Q10, which takes you essentially towards like JFK Airport. Certain parts of Queens are very hard to navigate if you don't have like a way to drive around. I mean, you can obviously walk, but like realistically, walking certain areas is just like too far. And when there are no trains, the buses really do come in handy. So you definitely have a few options. And we're actually coming up to the last like exit of the Union Turnpike station here. And the further we go up, we'll actually head into like Forest Hills. What is up again? If you're watching this, had an interesting little experience right before the end where I was like pointing at the station. Some guy just started talking to me and had a lot to say and was pointing at the camera. And then he asked, "Are you recording?" I'm like, "I was." And then he's like, "Oh, you can't post that." I'm like, all good. But on that note, I wanted to just officially end the video kind of walking through the Kew Gardens area of Queens here. Entertaining, to say the least. And I hope you guys got a nice look of kind of the area and where I like grew up, if you will. So as always, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So peace.